Hi. So in this we are going to see how to fix this binding exception. So in Angular directive we are using ng bind HTML, so obviously it will throw this kind of error. So what is this error? Strict contextual escaping. What does it mean? Actually it's nothing but if somebody is trying to inject some untrusted tags HTML things in your code, so Angular is trying to prevent that one by using this kind of things. So if you are how to inform them this is the trusted one. So if you are trying to inject something in your code, so you have to inform the Angular compiler to this is the trusted source I need to inject in my code. So how to inform them? So for this we have two solutions for this. We can use $sce.trust as a HTML function. So if you are passing that HTML data into this one, it will converted that data into tags into the trusted HTML tags, then it will inject in your Angular area. So or else you can use angular.sanitize. So this is another way you can inform the Angular that whatever the templates that trying to inject in your code all are trusted ones. So these are all the two solutions. So let's see, go and see examples one by one. So here this is normal template, right? So here I have one controller. So this is my controller. I have created simple Angular application. So in that I have first controllers, and then controller has small two attributes, and just I'm binding that to here. So here I have one ng bind. So I just want to display hello world here. So in this div area, so I just simply bind it and it is displaying fine, no problem in that. But what happened if I try to display some paragraph tag in that? What will happen? So if I run this code, it will print that HTML also in my code. So how to fix this one? So in order to I want to tell that Angular compiler that these are all ignore HTML tags, only compile that HTML tags and then print that result in my page. So how to inform Angular? So you have to use an HTML. So these are all the HTML source that I'm going to print here. So if you have to use this directive ng bind HTML directive to print the HTML tags in your code. So if you are using that, will not print. What happened? So it's gone. Okay, there is some issue. So let's go and see what is that issue. So if you go and see, this I told you, right? So strict contextual escaping error. So this is not a trusted code. Angular is filling. So we have to inform that. So this code is injected by myself. So we have to tell them, right? This is a trusted code. So how to inform? How to tell the Angular that is this is the trusted code? So I have two solutions for this one. So one is you have to use this trust as HTML, this inbuilt Angular core function. So right now that I'm going to use that one. So for that, first thing you have to add this parameter as a dependent parameter here, and then I have to use the dependent parameter. I have to use the object, and then so I have that code ready with me for this example. So what are the two steps to fix this one? So one is you have to add that uh, you have to inject that object here, and then second one is you have to call this function and pass your pass your tags that you want to inject in your code. So you have to compile that code. So you have to use this object and you have to call this function and you have to send the parameter of your HTML code. So then it will compile and then convert it, make it as a trusted code for Angular, and then it will bind it here. So let's run this code. So let's clear it. Let's see. Wow, everything is fine. Now the hello world is printed here. Okay, awesome guys. So the second thing is I have another solution. So we cannot tell Angular that everything is whenever we are trying to. So if it is a small application, we can call and we can make it like this. But if you are going for a big interface kind of application, what will happen? So when you have to get templates and you have to dynamically update your code area. I mean, when you're developing simple single page application development, or when you're going with progressive development concepts, so that time you have to bring a lot of HTMLs from the your server, and you have to dynamically inject in your code area. So that case, we cannot always call this function and dynamic execute and then binding it here. So instead of that one, we have to go with sanitize. So what sanitize will do? So sanitize, it will whenever we are using ng bind HTML directive, it will tell Angular that all the things are a trusted one. So for that we have to you have to define this sanitize library here, and then second step is you have to use you have this is dependent module. Actually, this is one of the Angular module you have to inform. So whatever the code in your module, my app module, whatever the templates you are using, all are trusted one. So if you are using this one, what will happen? Okay, everything is fine. So this is the two steps you have to follow. If you are going for long application, and in your module area you have to dynamically you have to inject you have to inject the dependent module here, that ngSanitize, and then you have to define the script library here, and then you can simply I have not used the sce trusted as previous example we were used, right? So this function call I never used. So in my HTML area, the template is simply binded, and then it's simply displaying here. So there is no much work here. So only things you have to do, these two things. One is define that one, and then second one is you have to inject the dynamic dependent module here. So that's it. So these are the two things. Okay guys, so we cannot leave this we have one more scenario we have to face. For example, so if I want to execute something here, for example, if I want to execute Angular directive here, for example, I want to do something like this. I want to print the first name here. I want second name. Okay. Oh, it's not executing Angular directive here. So this is another scenario. For example, if you are bringing some templates from your server, and that server that area, for example, large area, you are binding something here. For example, here this is dynamically I'm bringing, and this is the large area I am appending in your area in your page. So but I want to execute, for example, here when I click on something, it should do some action, but these are all Angular things. So I want to tell Angular that this code, whatever the directives, Angular directives used in the template, right? So that also should be compiled and that should be executed in my area. But here that is not happening. Simply it's printing, simply it's executing that HTML tags, but it's not evaluating, executing that Angular directives. So for this, what is the solution? How to address this one? So if you're in this scenario, how to how to work on this one? So I have another example for you guys. So here this is one thing. So here in this case, so here I'll tell you. So I have one index simple HTML file and displaying some text fields here, and then I have one controller, and I have one directive, and I have one JSON data. So this is external data, I'm fetching it from database, just assume like that. So here I'm printing. So here this is the div I told you, right? So here I'm using Angular expression, Angular binding, something I'm using. So here before that I'll show you that. So here Angular ng bind HTML and directive within it. So here we are using Angular directives. we are not simply using only HTML things and printing something. So in your template contains Angular directives in it, so it should be evaluated and it should be executed in your page whenever when you are doing something in the dynamic area. So and then if you are doing some action, so ng click or ng model binding, and if you're that should be integrated with your existing code, and it should react if you are doing some action on it. So how to implement that one. So here this is the thing. So this template I'm printing, this will what it will do by if you are using sanitize or a SC method, so it will definitely print this text field here, input field here, but it should bind this one first name I want to bind, or mobile number something I want to bind, and send it to the Angular controller. So how to implement that one? So for that I have a solution for you guys. Here, this is the directive. So this is the template, and this is a property that I am using in my HTML area. So here I will show you. So this is the div area that dynamically I'm updating, I mean injecting my template here. And this div, I'm using one custom directive. This is Angular custom directive I have created here. So this is Angular custom directive ng bind HTML, and then I'm using Angular compiler object. So compiler dependencies here, I'm injecting here, and here I'm always watching. So this is a custom directive, I'm using it as an attribute. So here I am not mentioned restricted to attribute or element or commands or nothing I have mentioned, but I am returning this one as uh, function, and it is returning this. Here I'm using the scope.watch function. So if you are here in the first parameter, which one I'm watching, each attribute that my HTML bind. So here you can go and see. So this is the attribute. So that is that one I'm watching. So this is the attribute I'm watching, and here you can see and I'm compiling, and on that element area I'm displaying that value, that the input text field, and I'm always I'm compiling the content. I mean to say here that scope is binded with your, if you're running this command, that scope ng model will be binded with your controller. So this is the directive you have to use in order to inject Angular directives in your ng bind ng HTML bind. So this is the solution for you. So if you are using this one and if you are running this one, what will happen? So here script area. So here I have to display user of zero dot name. So here user data, if you are simply printing user data here, let's see what is the output. So it's printing entire thing JSON object. And if I want to print some dynamic things, so if I'm simply executing 2 plus 3 with simple angular expression, so 2 plus 4 6, so it's executing, everything is fine here. So if I want to run something here, so I'll tell you simple model binding here. So for example, scope dot first name equal to simply printing first name Raj. So let's fine. Here you can see this one. So everything is fine here. Everything is fine. So it's perfectly printing. So if I'm using some input tag here, Yes. Okay, fine. So it's perfectly binding. So this is how you have to use Angular if you want to bind, if you want to evaluate Angular directive in your template area and you want to bind that template into your HTML dynamically. Then you have to create dynamic, you have to create a custom directive and you have to evaluate, and you can make use, simply make use this in a few line of code and you can bind like this actually. Okay guys, that's all. So thank you. So you can, thank you so much, guys. So thanks for listening, and please subscribe my channel for more troubleshooting and more issue fixing in Angular and any Angular 1 or 2 or 5 or 6, anything, any versions. Thank you. Bye bye.